Another question. How well do you think Le'Veon Bell fits in with the Jets offense this season, and how does it affect Darnold's progression?
Well, this is ironic because
this is okay.
I would get rid of him as soon as humanly possible, but he's a great fit for this offense.
Yes, those can both be true. It's nuance. He's a useful player on your football team. He's also a player I would rather trade and have other assets that I think are more useful.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about Le'Veon Bell. If you're going to play with him, though, very helpful for Darnold's progression if used correctly. And if used correctly, that is as a passing game mismatch. He could play outside a wide receiver. He's played in the slot. He can run those corners, wheel routes out of the backfield, those mismatch type of routes, not just check downs where he's going to, try to make a guy miss, like actually taking advantage of linebackers in coverage. That's how you use Le'Veon Bell. And I think he could absolutely help Sam Darnold.
He's this fascinating poster child for this idea of running backs don't matter. Because talent-wise, he's as good as any running back in the NFL. He's as complete a player as any running back in the NFL. His running style is phenomenal. He's an exceptional receiver. He's one of the top 2 or 3 pass-catching backs in the league. He can pass block. He can be on the field, every single down if you wanted to do that. He should be the guy that elevates an offense because of how good he is and because of what he can do. And yet it's so hard to find any evidence whatsoever that missing him makes any difference to this or made any difference to the Steelers offense. It's almost impossible to find data that suggests that he moved the needle at all.
Other than everybody's going to, they missed the playoffs.
Right. But that yes. If you want to reduce it down to simple wins and losses, independent of what was actually happening, then you could make that case.
The offense was still great. James Conner was outstanding.
Production, yardage, even how things were run past splits, all this kind of stuff. It's almost impossible to find any evidence whatsoever that anything changed when he wasn't on the field. And not just last year with James Conner and the running backs they cycle through, before when it was D'Angelo Williams. And now you can make the case that the Steelers also had talented backups all the way along, and that's why it didn't make a big deal. But nobody would make the case that those guys are anything like the receiver that Le'Veon Bell is and has been. So, in theory, something should have been changing.
I mean, it was there's a Kareem Hunt question later on, too. I mean, Kareem Hunt was a classic. He can catch the ball. He's an excellent runner. The Chiefs had, they release him with all the off-field issues, and then Damian Williams steps in and is just as productive. He can catch a screen pass and run straight. I mean, but the running back's dependent on these other situations.
That is true, but you could definitely see last year the offense changed in terms of what it was asking the running backs to do when it didn't have Kareem Hunt there from a passing point of view. Damian Williams could catch some screens, but they weren't using him in those downfield wheel routes. They didn't have that string to their bow. So
here's the thing, and here's what I think I can always hear George and Eric in my ear. Does that matter? So if you take a Le'Veon Bell out of the offense and you don't force him the ball, against linebackers, right? What's the alternative then? Okay, so then you're not going to throw the ball to your running back, which means you're going to throw the ball to your wide receivers or tight ends more often, which again, they're going to tell you, especially when you have Patrick Mahomes, that's more valuable. So it's one of those things where they always think a step further, where it's like the running back himself is very, very good. However, if you're going to give him X number of touches to justify his being good, you're taking away from other valuable parts of the team, in theory.
I mean, it depends what it's replaced with, right? Because obviously Kareem Hunt found himself, particularly in that offense with Andy Reid, found himself as a monstrous mismatch against a linebacker a ton of times.
Oh yeah,
those plays
he was very
exceptionally valuable.
Yep.
Now when you have a replacement that can't do that, it's no longer a mismatch. You don't go there, you go somewhere else. And if those targets are going to Tyreek Hill, it's probably still great.
Or Travis Kelce,
right? If they're going to, a slightly busted up Sammy Watkins who's not making plays, it's probably a net loss.
Right.
So I think Kansas City's problem is when you took away Hunt, you very quickly got narrowed down to basically Hill or Kelce because Watkins was hurt for a period of time. They didn't have anybody else beyond that. Now suddenly you're getting a little too one-dimensional, and it's becoming a problem.
No, they still averaged over 30 points a game.
Well, yeah, they were amazing to begin with, but you had Patrick Mahomes playing out of his skin. The point is, it was better with Hunt in there, demonstrably so.
What do you mean demonstrably? They still averaged over 30 points a game. It was a little bit better.
Yeah, demonstrably, measurably. The point is, it wasn't any different when Le'Veon Bell was out of the lineup in Pittsburgh. You couldn't trace the difference. If you were given the splits with or without with Kansas City, you could point to the ones where Hunt wasn't in, say this is that subset. You can't even do that with Le'Veon Bell missing from the Steelers. It's impossible to basically notice his absence. So that's why he's this fascinating system where you go, well, he's an amazing running back. He should make everything better. And yet it was hard to identify that happening.